Certain developers in our industry have a knack for cramming their games full of detail, allowing players to really immerse themselves into the worlds and environments they find themselves in. And often these developers go above and beyond, putting so much thought and tiny details into these games, stuff that we might not even see or even notice. Sure, that stuff is, in the grand scheme of things, pointless, to put it crudely, but when you find out about it, you can't help but be really appreciative that it's in there. In this feature, we'll be taking a look at 15 such details. The Last of Us, Blood on Joel. Yet another example of Naughty Dog's obsessive attention to detail. Throughout The Last of Us, Joel will obviously get beaten up, bruised, and injured a lot, but interestingly enough, the game has actual visual consequences for that. Any wounds that Joel incurs will ooze blood, and that blood will trickle down his wounds realistically, completely unneeded, and many might not even notice, and yet, it's there. The Division, Car Doors. Ubisoft also likes cramming its games full of tiny details, and you'll find a few examples in this feature. First up, well, The Division. The Division's post-pandemic New York City was brimming with minuscule details all around, but the one example that most of us remember, given how it was also in its reveal trailer, is the car doors. Scattered haphazardly throughout Manhattan's streets are cars, some with their doors open. Take cover behind one of these cars and walk up to the doors, and you'll see your character physically pushing the car door shut. Rainbow Six Siege, Hostages. The one thing Rainbow Six Siege always had going for it was its level of detail, even back during its early days when the game had launched in a sorry state. For instance, if you injure a hostage in the game and revive them and then repeat that enough times, you'll get awarded with the "you monster" penalty. Assassin's Creed Origins, Horses. Another Ubisoft game. Assassin's Creed Origins brought its vision of ancient Egypt to life beautifully, and the level of detail the game exhibited was hugely responsible for that. Just as an example, your horse's eyes actually reflect everything in the environment. That's a ridiculous detail that a vast majority of the game's players won't even notice, but props to the developers for putting it in there anyways. Mortal Kombat 11, Johnny Cage. Everyone's favorite Hollywood hotshot Johnny Cage has been a mainstay in Mortal Kombat forever, and he will, of course, be returning in Mortal Kombat 11 as well. The sequel will see a past version of Johnny Cage coming face to face and interacting with the present version, and the game's definitely going to have some fun with that. For instance, in the footage for the game that we've seen so far, some eagle-eyed Reddit users have already spotted the past version of Cage looking at the IMDb page of the present version of Cage. Shenmue Weather. Shenmue was a game that insisted on grounding players into its world and taking things slow, even if that got into the way of its pacing. From the time of day to the schedule of every single NPC to the opening and closing times of shops and establishments. That was true for the game's weather systems as well, which crazily enough was based on actual weather forecasts for the location in the real world for that year. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, Glowing Eyes. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice sees us playing as a shinobi who's called only Wolf, but the game really takes that name to heart. For instance, if you go into a cave and stand in the dark, you'll see your eyes glowing in a manner that will be very reminiscent of actual wolves. Another interesting tidbit for you, Sekiro means one-armed wolf in Japanese. GTA 5, Light Pollution. Grand Theft Auto 5's Los Santos is a stunning recreation of Los Angeles, and though it isn't exactly one-for-one for obvious reasons, it exhibits some impressive level of detail in several areas. An example of that is the light air pollution you can see in the game against its skybox at night. Look at the sky at nighttime from inside the city, and then from on top of a hill on the outskirts, and the difference will be immediately noticeable. Fallout 4 DOGMEAT. If there's one single thing all Fallout 4 players can agree on, regardless of how much they like the game, it's that DOGMEAT is the best buddy one could hope for. And watching him just, well, be a dog is oddly entertaining. For example, if you give DOGMEAT a teddy bear, he will grab it in his mouth and actually play with it. Spider-Man, Rockets. Pause the action and zoom in on any one of the rocket launchers being fired at Spidey, and you'll actually see text on their sides. The text describes everything from their weight to their model number. Funnily enough, that text also touts that the rockets are guaranteed to kill spiders. Batman Arkham Knight, Shell Casings. Deadshot doesn't make an appearance in Arkham Knight, but he's still very much putting in the work to bring down the Caped Crusader. For example, every single shell casing of rounds fired at your Batmobile from RPGs have the word Deadshot written on their sides. So you know Deadshot might be busy with other stuff, but he's still supplying the weapons that are being used to try and take down the Dark Knight. The Last of Us, downed enemies. Naughty Dog has a reputation for having an obsessive attention to detail, and The Last of Us is obviously no different in that regard. During combat encounters, if you manage to get down to just a single enemy, beat them, and then hold a gun to their head, they actually get on their knees and start begging for their lives. Of course, if you decide to show them mercy, the game in turn decides to teach you a lesson about how harsh this world is, and that enemy just gets up and tries to kill you again. Dead Space 2. Isaac's weight. Dead Space 2's developers thought that including Isaac's accurate weight in the game was for some reason necessary. In the first store, when you get on a scale while Isaac isn't wearing his suit, it shows his weight as 195 pounds. But get on the scales after putting his suit on, and that reading goes up to 255 pounds. Forza Horizon 4. Wrong Way. Forza Horizon 4's excellent crafted open-world United Kingdom is one of its biggest strengths, and it's the world's level of detail that makes it such a joy to simply exist and drive around in. For example, if you're driving in the wrong direction of a lane and see AI drivers coming at you, you'll see them flashing their headlights at you, so yeah, obey the rules of the road, people. Red Dead Redemption 2. The Clocks. Red Dead Redemption 2's every nook and cranny is jam-packed with incredible details that help bring its world to life like few open-world games have ever managed. For instance, every single clock you see in the game shows the accurate in-game time, and you can even see their individual hands moving in conjunction with the time of day being shown in-game. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from GamingBolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.